Now, I know the very first question has got to be, FG, why are we doing new beta impressions on a game that officially launched way back in April of 2020? Well, that is because the current Dead by Daylight mobile that we have on the Play Store and the iOS Store will be going away and replaced with a new version of Dead by Daylight Mobile in partnership with NetEase. Now, I can only speculate why this partnership exists in the first place. I have to imagine that Behavior Interactive just could not keep up with maintaining both the PC version and the mobile version of Dead by Daylight Mobile. I was looking at some of the recent updates that the mobile version had, and they haven't updated the mobile version for like months, right? So it has not been really well maintained. So enter NetEase. So NetEase is going to be taking over the project, and they will be handling the mobile version of Dead by Daylight Mobile from this point on. So once this beta is concluded on this new version of Dead by Daylight, that old version is completely going away, but not to worry, all of your progress, everything you achieved on the old version will be ported over to the new version. But once that happens, we're all going to be playing this new version of Dead by Daylight Mobile courtesy of NetEase. So I know the second question has got to be, FG, why do we need a new version of Dead by Daylight Mobile if NetEase is just going to be taking over? Why can't we just stay on the old version? Like, what's the difference? Well, there's actually a pretty big difference. Now, I have to imagine, once again, I'm just making this stuff up, but it sounds true. I have to imagine NetEase looked at the game and said, hey, if we're going to take this game over, it's going to need some major changes, because we're not going to just take this game over for charity, right? NetEase wants to make money on this project. So they invested quite a bit of resources to overhaul the OG version of Dead by Daylight Mobile, starting first and foremost with the graphics. So there is a massive graphics overhaul, right? You got ultra graphics settings, AA, 60 frames per second. You got physics added to the clothing, the hair, dynamic shading, lightning, and just like the overall visual fidelity of this version of Dead by Daylight Mobile is considerably better than the OG one that we played on this channel years ago, right? Like, it is a considerable upgrade between this version and that version. Now, once again, keep in mind, this is kind of an older game, so it can only look so good, but let me tell you, it looks much better than the OG version of Dead by Daylight Mobile. And really, what type of timeline are we living in right now that adding NetEase to your project actually makes your game less janky? Less janky? Who is this? And on top of upgrading the graphics, the optimization, quality of life, streamlining, they're adding leaderboards, they're adding squads, they're adding chats. And the thing that I'm most excited for, being a bloody casual, is the addition of quick match as a gameplay mode. So if you don't feel like getting all sweaty playing ranked mode, you can just play the quick match mode, enjoy the game, still accrue blood points, shards, character experience, just like you're playing in ranked, without the sweatiness. Because Dead by Daylight is just one of those games, if you're like a brand new player, or if you're like a newbie, those first week or two as you're trying to learn the game can just be really toxic, especially if you're trying to play ranked. So quick match, dude, that's all I need. I'll stay in quick match. Now, like I mentioned at the start of the video, Behavior Interactive most likely, allegedly, once again, I'm making this up, but it kind of sounds true, Behavior Interactive probably struggled to allocate resources to making this game as good as it could have been, which tells me the game wasn't really making that much money. So once again, NetEase being involved, they probably looked at this project as a whole and said, you know what? We can actually make money on this game if we redo it. So enter all the overhauls, the upgrades, the streamlining, and of course, enter more microtransactions, of course. So they've added a new feature in the game where you can obtain cosmetics, which once again, I kind of expected. There's no way they're gonna just be doing this for charity's sake, right? So hopefully it just stays to cosmetics. I'm not sure if a game like this would be well received with any type of like pay to win aspect. So hopefully it stays cosmetic on that front. You also have the ability to finally buy the full battle pass on mobile as well. So a lot of big major changes are coming to Dead by Daylight Mobile. So overall, just kind of based on what I've seen so far, this does seem like an overall net positive for potential new players and existing players, right? Because all your progress is going to be ported over. You got this massive massive upgrade on the graphics engine, the systems, the optimization, the streamlining. You're gonna have a publisher that is willing to allocate resources to the game to keep it updated. That's something that you did not have before. So even if you like Behavior Interactive, you had to admit they really didn't have the ability to allocate the resources and the time and the care to keep the game upgraded and, you know, as good as it could have been. So I'll definitely keep an eye on it. If you want to play this game yourself, I will have a link down in the description below where you can just jump into the beta, whether you're on iOS as well as Android. It's really easy to just download, jump in and play, and the matchmaking hasn't been too bad. And there's already a good amount of players already playing this beta version, which kind of tells me that the existing player base, they kind of needed this and they wanted to have something like this. So very, very cool. That is Dead by Daylight Mobile, the beta version. And I'll definitely be back covering this game once it hits official relaunch. I would assume that NetEase is probably going to market this game pretty heavy at the relaunch. So once again, try to recoup all their investment. So they're probably going to be doing a pretty sizable marketing campaign to drive awareness of this new version, to try to get players that maybe have played the game before and gave up on it due to how janky it was to maybe jump back in and give it a try, which is a perfect time if you're like me and you want to try to play the game with new players. That might be a really good time to start playing the game, all right? So that is Dead by Daylight Mobile, the new beta, brought to you by NetEase.